Let's talk about security. As we continue on our conversation about the growing influence of Russian security group Wagner forces in especially West African countries. Yesterday we heard from Dr. Ishmael Hlovo and Dr. Adam Boda. Let's speak to Professor Vladimir Antwi Danso, a highly accomplished and respected academic leader who currently serves as the Dean of the Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College. And Dr. Antwi Danso, it's a pleasure to have you on the post.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure talking to you too.
My fear and concern is the fact that Burkina, Mali, Niger, they've served notice they are leaving the regional bloc ECOWAS. That means that they will be on here. I know that under the ECOWAS protocol, even when a country wants to acquire certain arms, the neighboring countries must be aware, so nobody is taken by surprise. Now we have three groups that have served notice that they want to leave ECOWAS, meaning that we wouldn't know whatever is happening in their country. Wagner is lurking around. To what extent should we be concerned about the issues that is happening in the sub-region?
We should be seriously concerned in the sense that when you are intending to have integration, you're also thinking about community security, like you rightly put it. No country could do anything that would not inure to the benefit of the collective. So the three deciding to move away from ECOWAS is of concern economically and also for the union efforts and then for security. So it's of great concern. We cannot let it go as if they would go, let them go. We need to think about our effort for almost 50 years at forging some kind of unity, which is a very good kind of unity in these days of globalization, especially. That if you have all the synergies in your economies put together, you have rapid development, you have economies of scale, you have intensity of trade, you have factor mobility, which is very, very good for integration. But when these things are not done and some are going away, it makes it difficult for the rest to even find their way through the forest of integration. So I'm worried myself to hear that three of these giants are going in. If you want to look at the land mass of ECOWAS, these three, if they should actually go, it means that about 70 to 75% of the land mass of ECOWAS would be gone.
That's very interesting. But I mean, so how should ECOWAS approach this? Should ECOWAS give in to their demands, and that will mean, asking them to do whatever they want? What approach should ECOWAS adopt so that ECOWAS does not come across as begging them to stay?
Of late, ECOWAS has not played the card very well. Intimidation, threats, etc. You don't build a union on threats. Meanwhile, there is no big, let me use that word, big country. Of course, Nigeria is a huge country with all the resources and things like that, but it's not that type of leader like Germany and France together leading the Euro or the leading Europe. We should not let them go on threats and intimidation. This is the time for diplomacy. In integration, yes, people look at what they benefit from for integration before they join. And if it's not working well, they would move out. In our own local kind of thinking, when you are serving a god, a little god, bosom, and the bosom is not, delivering, you leave and serve another one.
Right.
So certainly this is what is happening. I have said on several other fora that what ECOWAS needs now is diplomacy. And in diplomacy, there's no end. Start talking and find a way to getting to yes. Unfortunately, ECOWAS doesn't go far before they start intimidating. I have said on one of your sister stations that we need to use what we call track 2 diplomacy. Track 2 diplomacy is where you use eminent people whom the people revere. When things went bad in Kenya, we used Kofi Annan instead of using any other person. If you want to bring in Americans, the three are angry with America or France, worse. If you want to send the Akufo-Addos, Makisas, and the Tinubus, it's worse, because these are the people who threatened them. I have advocated that we should use the Victor Behos and the Ibn Chambases.
Right.
These are people who can really broker a deal for ECOWAS.
The countries that have announced their breakaway from ECOWAS, these are Mali, Burkina Faso and Guinea. It's coincidental, all of them have the presence of Wagner in their countries. Is this just mere coincidence, or there's some kind of a subtle attempt for Vladimir Putin to have a huge presence within the sub-region? And to what extent should the other countries be worried with the presence of Wagner?
I have said it several times that the presence of Wagner in West Africa or in any other West African country is not in any way a threat to a neighboring country. If you know the workings of private military companies, they are always on call only when they are invited. They cannot enter any country. They would not lead any other country or insurgents to attack any country. I know our security agencies were very much worried about the presence of Wagner in Burkina, but I talked to a lot of them. I talked to the head of state, and I said, Wagner will never enter Ghana without being invited. So we shouldn't fear that Wagner would enter. But let us also understand the work of PMCs. It's not a new phenomenon. It has been used from time immemorial. And there are several countries who have PMCs. It's just because of late, geopolitics has been so high, and the Russian presence is a little worrying. That's why we are making so much noise. Let me tell you, India has a PMC, Pakistan has, Japan has, several other countries have PMCs, which are of late being used as a veritable tool for foreign policy. And that's exactly what Russia is doing. If you understand geopolitics, then you want your presence in another country, but you can't use the normal, known kind of diplomatic networks. And you can use your private military company. Remember, Britain has the largest PMC, the 4GS. You know, it has the largest, close to about 700,000 membership, men and women in uniform, serving as a private military company. I think it's bigger than all the militaries in West Africa, for example. Should we fear? We shouldn't fear. We shouldn't fear, because they would never attack until you invite them. Now, Putin is using the Wagner for geopolitical reasons. Now, if France is losing foothold in Africa, in international politics, there's no vacuum. Somebody will quickly rush in. Yes. And that is exactly what Russia has done.
And so there's no cause for alarm. You don't see this as an attempt by Putin to get a hold on Africa and the resources.
Well, to get a hold on Africa, why not? Because in 1884, when Germany had been able to get together, Prussian leader had been able to put Germany together, 1870-71. He also decided to have a place in the sun. France has colonies, Britain has colonies. Why not me, Germany, a big country? So he also came. So that is the order of international politics. Where geopolitics is concerned, France has always been at the forefront of African affairs and using all that it could. Look at uranium, the very big raw material for atomic energy and atomic whatever, bomb and that sort of thing. And France controlled it in Niger.
But
buying uranium at 0.80 euros. That is not even 1 cent, not even 1 euro. You know, then the coup happened, and this man now moves the price from 0.80 a kilo to 200 euros a kilo.
Right.
Thousands of times. And now when you read the World Economic Outlook, you'll be told that Niger is going to be the fastest growing economy in Africa and the world by 2035.
Yes.
So if France is leaving all these very good things, or they has been sacked from Africa, would you want to wait? And the people are also, wanting the Wagner around. So why not? So yes, you may be right that yes, it's a chance for Putin to also get a foothold, just like any other country would have done. So I wouldn't say that call, that beacon is not there.
But clearly, Doctor, you agree with me that the underlying issue is the high level of poverty, unemployment, and dependence that Africa, especially the sub-Saharan Africa, appears to be. And therefore, it becomes very easy for any kind of infiltration. Shouldn't ECOWAS rather be interested in economic empowerment? Rather than all of this, sometimes the conditions they impose...
Economic empowerment comes from the type of governance you have. We are worshiping democracy as if it is manna from heaven and God is saying, go and take it. Let me tell you, it is a governance issue. All the 3 countries, It's a governance issue when you sit down in Mali talking about democracy a la France, democracy a la America. We in Ghana even, we have fused the Westminster type of democracy and the American type.
Right.
And we chopping it. And things are not working. And because things are not working, you know, people are not happy. And anything can happen. In all the countries in West Africa, in all the countries in Africa, that is the crux of the problem, is the governance problem. So when you get a systemic kind of resolution, what has happened in West Africa is more systemic than conspiratorial. Conspiratorial coups are coups made by young officers, platoon mates in the training, and say, hey, let's take over. And then they would take over. Those ones are very bloody and very unpredictable.
Yes.
But these ones are systemic coups. In 2012, if the Malian army had not stepped in, the Tuaregs would have been in Bamako in 10 days. In Burkina Faso and in Niger, it's the same thing. So you see, these ones are systemic coups to save the system from imploding. And when you have systemic coups, it means it is something with governance. Now, ECOWAS says we are coming in within 1 week, hand over to Bazoum. It was ridiculous. You build democracy in 1 week. It's ridiculous. Note it, Ghana. We were conscious of what we wanted. And we gave Jerry Rawlings 11 solid years.
Right.
Around that time, we were building institutions for good governance. And that is what has saved Ghana from any coup. You know, so you better help them rather than threaten them. And if somebody is ready to help them push away the Tuaregs and push away the insurgents, the jihadists, so be it. So for me, ECOWAS must go in and understand the specificities of these countries and know that it could be any other country. I told my interlocutor on your program the other time that several other countries are ready for systemic interventions. I mentioned Sierra Leone, and lo and behold, like a prophet, it nearly happened.
Right.
I mentioned Senegal. The signs are still there if they don't put things right. Central African Republic, anything can happen. Equatorial Guinea, Congo, Brazzaville. These are all countries that are having systemic problems. And if we don't take care and these things happen over there, then we begin to measure them through American lenses or French lenses. We need to understand these things very well.
And that's appeared to me that for these three countries, a return to constitutional rule is maybe far from reality, at least for now.
At least for now, but give them time. Let them build who is going to rule. Just because you want a civilian to rule, you just make the ballot. I read my article and read every time I've been saying it. Let me repeat. The ballot does not stop the bullet. The ballot, you just go and put in there and you put Antwi Danso there as head of state. What about the state itself? What is needed are institutions of state understanding the democratic principles of governance. Other than that, so for me, I'm saying ECOWAS must give them time, a very good timetable, and help them build their institutions. Help them, even if it means sending people. We helped Sierra Leone and Liberia to build.
Okay.
And Ghana sent a lot of specialists, including even electricity engineers,
right,
teachers, what knows. Let's help them. That's the most important thing, so that we don't see these systemic coups again.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vladimir Antwi Danso, international relations expert, and sharing his thoughts on the situation in Burkina Faso, Mali, and of course, Guinea, and the Wagner connection as well.